Joy is something you choose to feel through your circumstances. It's a deep feeling and it's a longing within your heart. I've been through quite a few difficult circumstances throughout my life, and I feel that praying hard to God about them openly and with emotion has led me to see God work amazing things in my life. And knowing this gives me joy because each day I'm blessed with another fresh start. So what is joy? Joy is choosing how we respond to our external circumstances with an inner contentment and satisfaction. And as a Christian, I know that God will use my experiences to accomplish His work in and through my life. Responding to my circumstances with joy is a choice, even through trials and sufferings, because it can change our perspective. And we don't have to drum up this feeling of joy all on our own. God is our true originator of joy, and He will help us through our trials. And the Bible encourages us through James chapter 1 verse 2 to consider potential advantages of our difficult situations in order to help us gain an understanding of what God wants to accomplish in our lives. When we truly count or consider what God is doing, we will conclude that our response can be one of joy. Choosing how we respond to situations is immensely helpful because instead of reacting and getting caught up in negative emotions, it gives us space to think things through. It gives us time to pray, and it gives us time to be guided with our response. So how does my relationship with God bring me joy? When I was little, I was brought up in a loving Christian home where we talked about God and we were very involved with church activities. I felt I had a pretty good understanding of God. I got baptised when I was 19 and I had a heart that was really strong for God. But on reflection now, I can see that I didn't, up to this point, have a personal relationship with God. I didn't recognise true forgiveness from God, and I lived trying very hard to be a good person and a good Christian. When challenging times came in life through parenting and marriage and all the stresses that daily life brings, I didn't really have much confidence. I tried really hard to do everything in my own strength, but I often felt really tearful, I felt not good enough, and I felt like a failure. And I guess this was just my low self-worth, and I covered it up really well. I tried pretty hard to mask these feelings, but it's hard work pretending to be strong, especially when you don't feel it, and you and others really don't truly know who you are. My relationship with God dramatically changed in 2019 when I started to understand what God's love was for me in a completely new way. You see, before this time, I think my faith was more of a religion, perhaps, rather than a relationship with God. We're created by God to know Him and to have a close personal relationship with Jesus, which is life-changing and will affect every aspect of our lives. It brings joy, hope and purpose like nothing else in life can. I learnt to know God as a friend, but more so in a relationship founded on grace, not on rules and regulations. I learnt what it's like to be forgiven for the mistakes that I've made, and the feeling of being made new through Jesus' death on the cross. Tasting God's great love for me in this new way and being made free has helped me to surrender my life to His plans and His ways. And I just love that the Bible is so relevant for our lives today. God's done some pretty amazing restorative work in my life, and it's hard not to feel joyful when you reflect back and see each day what He's doing and has done. Knowing that I don't need to earn God's love through good behaviour in following the strict rules has been really freeing, and I've learned so much more about myself as a person. I'm so much more comfortable in my own skin. My life feels like a life of purpose. It feels like a life of meaning and joy, and it's because I surrender my heart and my life to God. I ask God daily to use me for His purpose and to take control of all our messes and to help us put them right. And each day, gradually, we see these small changes, freeing us to be more of who God wants us to be and restoring us from our past mistakes. However, none of this came without challenge, pain or difficulty, and I want to share with you how God has helped teach me to feel joy throughout all of this. About 3 years ago now, I went through a time where I got to a point of being at the end of my rope. I was out of resources to help myself in the difficulty, and although I'd prayed about it a lot, one day I found myself literally crying out to God, "I just can't do this. Help me," with tears streaming down my face. It felt like everything in my life was just falling apart. So then this became a daily thing, crying out to God. God gradually and slowly started showing me how if I relied on Him and gave control of my life, then He could restore all of it. I started really listening to Christian music, and it really spoke into my heart. The tears just rolled out of me daily as my heart was being changed, and I realised that God had got hold of me and how loved I was, and I learnt how to step back from my situation, to see the bigger picture and to give God control of all of it. And once I let go of clinging onto it for dear life, God took it all and worked amazingly through all of it. I started to see all the positives of all the challenges and to see how God was using the pain to change me and my family for the better. And I realised that God gave us the power to govern how we think. I could see the pain of people being removed from our lives, not as a negative, but as God protecting us and giving us time and space to grow in Him. And I could see our material possessions gradually being removed, not as a loss, but as a gaining in a simpler and more stress-free life. So sometimes people say to me, "Oh, you're always so positive," but it's God who gave me this ability to see how negative things we experience always have a God-given blessing for us, but sometimes we have to lean on Him in order to be able to see it. So joy for me is a vibrant happiness. It's knowing that God is my friend. It's knowing that He always has my best interests at heart in all the situations that I go through. And it's knowing that He's always good. It's a deep-rooted feeling of happiness, that He's got hold of me and He won't let me go. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Nehemiah 8 verse 10. You could try keeping a gratitude jar, a little bit like this. I've got lights in mine because I like things that are sparkly and light. But each day, put a little piece of card in with something that you're grateful for. And then on a day when you're not feeling so happy or so joyful, or you're having a difficult time, you can take them out to remind yourself of things that have happened in the past that you have been grateful for, and to remind you of different things that God has given you in your life to be grateful for.